That number is this. What is that number that if I earned X amount of money in the next 12 months, I would consider myself on the way to being a professional salesperson in the auto industry? Let me warn you right now, this is not an auction. And it usually turns into an auction. And what I mean by it usually turns into an auction is he says 40 and he says 45, he says 50, you say, and by the time we get to this young man who's never earned more than $10 an hour, he's going, $87,500. I want to know your number, the number you had in your mind before you got here today. So we're going to start with you, Russ.
I'd have to say 50,000.
$50,000. Where it says yearly annual income, I want you to write that number in that box. Paul, what's your number?
Yeah, 50.
Okay, write it down. Tell me your name again.
Kyle.
Kyle.
35.
35, write it down.
50.
50,000, write it down. And yours is 50,000.
50,000.
Okay, how many of you have ever been blackberry picking? I'm from southeast Kansas, and I'm going to tell you what, I've picked my share of blackberries over the time. And usually when you go blackberry picking, it's about 900 degrees outside. It's the middle of July. You got a 5-gallon bucket. You're down in the middle of the stickers and the brush and the chiggers, and you're picking berries one at a time. And you're sitting there going, and you pick and you pick and you pick and you pick, and all of a sudden the sweat's running off of you, and you start rolling that bucket around. You still see the bottom of the bucket. Is that right? You go, I'm never going to get this bucket full. I'm never going to get this bucket full. Now your mom, she's pretty smart. She hands you a Dixie cup. She said, son, I don't know why you're getting that 5-gallon bucket down there in the chiggers. Just take this Dixie cup, fill it up, and then you can dump it into the 5-gallon bucket. Well, this Dixie cup fills up much faster than that 5-gallon bucket. Man, you're a professional blackberry picker at this time. You pick and dump, and pretty soon you look over there and your bucket's about halfway full. Because what we've done is we've taken a monumental task and we've reduced it into a bite-sized element of itself. Correct? So let's take this 50,000 number here, and let's find out how many cars that we need to sell in order to earn $50,000. I'm going to tell you now that the average commission on a vehicle sale is about $300 when you take spiffs and bonuses included in that. Okay? So it's very, very easy to find out how many cars I need to sell if I just take $50,000 and divide that by $300, right? And then in that next blank, I can write down where it says units equal annual income divided by 300. In that next blank, you just write that number. What is that number?
166.
166 point what? 0.66, right. We're gonna go out to 2 decimal places, because if we're gonna set specific goals, let's start doing that right now. So in order to earn $50,000, you need to sell 166.6 cars. If your goal's 35, you got a calculator, right?
Yes.
If your goal's 35,000 divided by 300, you need to sell 116.66. You got that?
Yep.
All right. Now, I'm going to introduce a new term that you haven't heard yet. It's called closing ratio. And we're going to talk in great detail a little later this morning about those closing ratios. But generally speaking, the average closing ratio in our industry is about 20%. That means for every 5 customers that you talk to, you're going to sell one of them a car. Okay? That's a closing ratio. Now, we get bogged down in closing ratios because then you go, you mean 80% of the time I'm going to fail? 80% of the people I talk to, I'm not going to sell a car to? You know, I don't know if you remember back, I think it was at 98 or 99, and it may have been 2000. Mark McGwire was chasing the home run record. Everybody remember that? Mark McGwire led the league in home runs that year, right? 71 home runs. Broke whose record? His fellow.
Maris.
Right, Roger Maris's record. He also led the league in 2 other statistics that year. Does anyone remember what those are? Strikeouts, and what else? Walks. I can remember in the middle of the summer, the TV would come on, and if Mark McGwire come up to bat, they would actually put him in a small screen in the in the middle of other programming at every at bat. How many of you believe that Mark McGuire, when he walked up to the plate, said, "Oh God, I don't want to put myself through that. My batting average is 215. There's an 80% chance I'm going to fail. 80,000 people here, 2 million people watching it on television. I don't know why I put myself through that." Do you think that was what was going through his head at that time? He went to that plate with nothing but swinging in mind. He walked up to the plate expecting to hit a home run. If you throw something to me, if you get it close, I'm going to take it 400 feet, right? But if I take my units, which was 166.66 or 116.66, and I times that times 5, I'm going to know how many opportunities that I'm going to need in the next 12 months in order to achieve my goal, right? So I take my glasses on an awful lot. If my number is 166.66 times 5, that number's 833.3, correct?
Mhm.
If my number's 116.66 times 5, that number's 583.3, correct? What seems easier, to make $50,000 or talk to 583 people a year? What seems easier? Neither one of them, right? It seems like a monumental task. Here, go take this 5-gallon bucket and fill it up for blackberries. So we have to learn how to reduce that monumental task into a bite-sized element of itself. There's 12 months in a year. Everybody agree with that? So if you take those numbers and divide them by 12 and put them in that next blank, we're going to look at a monthly goal. So everybody do that. You divide your annual income by 12, divide your units by 12, and your opportunity count by 12. So if our goal is $50,000 annually, how much do we need to earn monthly? Before I do the math, I'm going to say it's 4166.66. Am I right on that? Let me tell you why I didn't have to do the math on that. Because many, many years ago, my goal was $50,000. And I knew what my monthly goal was because I wrote it on my daily planner every single day in blue highlighter. Every day. 4166.66 is the first thing I did because I wanted to make sure that I understood what my clear written goal was for that month. Because when you're talking about setting goals, they can't be confessions. Goals and confessions are two different things, aren't they? A confession is, I confess I need to lose weight, I confess I need to run more, I confess I need to stop smoking or stop chewing or quit eating fatty food. Those are confessions. Zig Ziglar talks about going to the gym one day on New Year's, the day after New Year's. It was the second day of January. He walked in, he tried to get on an elliptical and couldn't get on, tried to get on a treadmill, couldn't get on, tried to get on the stair climber, and he's just looking around in disbelief. There's lines behind everything. And the guy that was running the counter said, "Zig, take another week off. Come back in a week. It'll calm down." These are our New Year's resolution people, right? There's a difference between a confession and a goal. So now we know. Let me ask you a question. What is your annual opportunity goal, Russ?
833.3.
What is your monthly opportunity goal?
69.44.
Do you think it's easier to talk to 69 people or 833 people?
69.
You can get your head around it, can't you? Now I want you to take that annual income or your annual goals on all 3 lines and divide them by 52 so we can take a look at what our weekly goal might be. So those 3 numbers, the annual number divided by 52, okay? How many people?
16.03.
16.03. Is that what your math says? Finally, I'm going to move the math forward a little bit. Take whatever your weekly number is and divide it by 5 because there's 5 work days in a week. Correct? So take that weekly number and divide it by 5. We set a monumental goal. 50,000, 35,000, whatever that was. And we've reduced it into a bite-sized element of itself. So everybody circle your daily opportunity count. What's yours?
3.21.
What's yours?
3.21.
What's yours? 2 point what?
2.24.
2.24?
3.21. 3.21.
All you have to do to make $50,000 in the next 12 months is marry yourself to that number. There is never, ever, ever gonna be a time, let me put it this way. You'll hit that opportunity count, which is how many a month? 69 point what?
44.
If you talk to 3.21 people a day, you'll talk to 69 people a month, you'll talk to 833 in the math a year. You have to marry yourself to that number. It's a today and everyday goal. It's not, well, I hit my goal today, I talked to 3 people today, but I didn't yesterday and I didn't the day before yesterday. Now you're not married to your goal. Because in order to earn $50,000 or in order to earn $35,000 or whatever your goal is, you need to know what your opportunity count is today and every day, and you have to be in constant commitment to chase that number every day. Because this is my promise. You'll hit your opportunity goal and hit your income goal, or you won't hit your opportunity goal and you won't hit your income goal. But there's never, ever, ever going to be a time that you hit your opportunity goal and not hit your income goal. It's impossible. This is about sales activity. This is about goal setting. You took a monumental task of $50,000 and you reduced it into a bite-sized element of itself. Now you know, 30 minutes into training, what you need to do tomorrow and every day for the rest of your sales career in order to get to your goal, okay? As I told every one of you in your interview, this isn't Walmart. We're not waiting for anyone to come in, right? We must not only focus on how many units it takes to accomplish our goal, but how many opportunities that we need today and every day to guarantee our success. Guys, if you learn one thing in sales training, that's the one thing that you need to learn. That needs to be embedded into your thought process. We'll talk about that in a little more detail moving forward.